Hello and welcome to this beta episode of Channel Anime, the anime review show. I'm John, and the show will officially be launching in a couple more weeks, but this past weekend saw the second season premiere of a series that, while some may disagree, I think fits in very well with the topic of this show. Of course, I'm talking about The Legend of Korra. Now, before anybody leaves any angry comments, yes, I realize that Korra isn't technically anime, because it's made in the US and not Japan. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the only difference. As far as the art style, animation, story arcs, character design, hell, even the character archetypes go, it is so influenced by anime as to be indistinguishable from anime. Oh, by the way, spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen both episodes of the season premiere, go do that now, come back, I'll wait. Now, I should start off by saying that I was a huge fan of the original series, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Sure, admittedly it started off a bit weak, but I thought that each progressive season, or book as they're called in this franchise, was a marked improvement on the previous one. And I also loved book 1 of Legend of Korra. In fact, I thought it was as good, if not better, than the last book of Avatar. So it kind of breaks my heart to say that the book 2 premiere was a bit disappointing in my opinion. Yeah, there was some good, of course. For once, the opening neutral bit didn't annoy me. In fact, it was a nice reminder of where last season left off, and I thought that opening with the angry spirits attacking was a great teaser. I also liked the kind of where are they now catch-up scenes with Team Avatar, particularly the scene where Bolin was coaching the fire ferrets. That was a great swerve, caught me completely off guard. Although, when did Mako become a cop? Was that covered at the end of last season and I just forgot? Oh well. Also, it was nice to see Lynn mentioned. Hopefully we'll get to see her sometime soon. Speaking of the side characters, it was great to finally meet Bumi and Kaya, and of course it's always great to see Katara again. Incidentally, Vacation Tenzin really shows how he takes after Katara. I also thought the whole Tenzin family vacation thing was some great comic relief, and it's interesting that they're giving Jinora what appears to be a link to the spirit world. There were also a few very interesting characters introduced in these two episodes. Varric, the businessman Asami is trying to make a deal with, who was very funny and reminded me of a character from Lupin III. And of course Eska and Desna, Korra's cousins from the Northern Water Tribe, who were incredibly funny. I couldn't help but notice that they bore a striking resemblance to Dio from Last Exile. He had to be the inspiration for their look. Unfortunately, that's it for the good. The bad is mostly Chief Unalaq, the leader of the Northern Water Tribe. Maybe it's just me, but he seemed incredibly reminiscent of Tarlok from Book 1. It was also incredibly suspicious that he was the only one who could spirit bend, and that's how the angry spirits were pacified. Also, when he said he was the only one who could prepare Korra to deal with the angry spirits, kind of a big red flashing I'm a villain sign. Oh, and Korra's little angsty individuation allegory where she first turns her back on her father figure than her real father. A bit too, okay, way too cliche for my tastes. And they also made it way too obvious that Unalaq engineered Korra's father's banishment from the Northern Water Tribe, although I thought the banishment itself was a nice twist. And that brings us to probably the most disturbing part of the episode, when the angry spirits have Korra restrained just before she activates the portal. It was about 2 steps away from a very, very typical hentai-tentacle rape scene. And very, very disturbing for what is supposed to be a kid's show. I was also rather disappointed that she didn't actually go into the spirit world. I was really hoping for a cameo from Aang. Now, of course, they could very easily come back from all of this and have an amazing season, and I'll be revisiting this season as it progresses. But given the past performance of the franchise, I just had very high hopes, and it just fell frustratingly short. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down there. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button down there somewhere as well. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. So until next week when I'll be talking about what is probably the most polarizing anime of this past summer season, and easily one of my favorites, Watamote. Take a look down in the description and you'll see links to find me on Twitter and Google+, as well as my anime list and Crunchyroll profile. You'll also find a link to Zombie Takeout, the Being Cult Movie podcast that I co-host and produce. And so until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk at you later. Speaking of the side characters, it was always great. It was always great to see them. Speaking of the side characters, it was great to see Bumi and it was great to finally meet.